Ladies and gentlemen, if you are not watching right now and you are listening, let me describe to you what is going on right now. We are trying to start the show. We have gone live, and Brother Brandon is literally posing in front of my tag team wrestling room tag team championship. He's grabbing spray and he's wiping it up, trying to be funny.
You
I,
missed the
I'm,
spot.
I want to report to the police that a championship title has been hijacked. This is the heist of the century, and yes, I will do everything in my power to get my championship title back in my possession. But we are back for another show, and we have plenty to talk about. It seems to me that the WWE is creating new stars right before Money in the Bank. And guess what? We're going to spend the entire show discussing the importance of making new stars and the lifeblood of professional wrestling. While Brother Brandon is just trolling and taunting me as he shines up my tag team championship that was hijacked. Heist of the century. Wrestling Realm. Play the intro. Here we go. Boom.
Houston, we have a problem.
Yes! What you gonna do? 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 What you gonna do?
Oh yeah. Nobody gonna do the Brian H. Woo?
I thought about it.
I was like, wait a minute, who's doing it? I'm like,
Anybody doing it?
Nobody.
Don't worry about it. Ooh, welcome to the Wrestling Round Now podcast. We'll take a deeper dive into the world of professional wrestling. Now, you can watch all of our Wrestling Realm content anytime on youtube.com/The Wrestling Realm. I am your host, the realness himself, the real Dwayne Allen. He is your host, Brother Hugh, has the third, H to the A to the S, T to the H to the E, 3 to the R to the D. He's your host, Brandon the Guy, conspicuous by his absence, Hollywood heel, Brian H. Waters, Worldwide Waters Wednesdays, is on the road today. But you can follow us on all social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Wrestling Realm. That's 2 W's. Like, subscribe, and engage in the conversation with us. You can also stream and download all of our audio content on Anchor, Stitcher, Podbean, Pocket Cast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. You can watch and subscribe to our Twitch channel at The Wrestling Realm.
Thank you, Dylan.
Hey, what's going on, Dylan? So Dylan Matthews is a faithful.
Woo. Oh, he had the woo.
Yeah, thank you, Dylan. Thank you, Dylan, for providing the woo for us. But you know what? Speaking of woo, if you want to be wooed and you want to be like the Wrestling Realm, you can support the brand and all of our famous t-shirts at WrestlingRealm.com. That's right. We have our own branded merchandise. We have t-shirts, we have hoodies, we have mugs, etc., etc. We have added so many new things. So head over to WrestlingRealm.com if you want to purchase merchandise, be a part of the brand. And check out our most famous t-shirt, our Proud Wrestling Fan. That's right. All you closeted wrestling fans need to come on out and just admit that you are proud to be wrestling fans. Don't be ashamed. It doesn't matter if it's a part of your childhood. It can stay a part of your adulthood now. That's WrestlingRealm.com. Also, for our bonus material and exclusive shows, please subscribe to our Patreon channel. That's right. Patreon.com/wrestling_realm. Brian H. Waters does an excellent job with Brian H. Starts. We also have exclusive content and shows, stories, and things that we can't say on the show. It's also available on our Patreon channel. That's right. You can subscribe for just as low as $1 at patreon.com/wrestling_realm. And with it being the summer months, if you're looking to purchase tickets to concerts, live shows, sporting events, and more, head over to SeatGeek.com where you can use promo code Wrestling Realm. That's right, to save $20 on any one-time purchase of $50 or more. So if you have not used this code before, SeatGeek.com, you can save yourself $20 on any purchase of $50 or more. And the way that tickets cost these days, I don't think you have a problem, especially if you're buying more than one. So promo code Wrestling Realm available now. SeatGeek.com. Get yourself $20 off your purchase. That's right. One more time, promo code Wrestling Realm. I want somebody to buy tickets and I want somebody to use the promo code so that we know that people are using our personal promo code to save themselves money. You see that? I just got through all the advertisements just that quickly.
You did.
And
Smooth.
under 2 minutes, probably. I'm pretty impressed. Pretty impressed.
You know what I've been, okay. See, you know what? I was about to segue This has got to be cyberbullying at some point. Because I was about to give you a compliment and say, speaking of impressed, what I was impressed with, and I was about to ask you about last night's episode of Championship Culture. This is the image I was supposed to show. Like, you see that? That's what I intended to do, but no. The guy wanted to be a troll, and that's a hijacked photo of my championship title.
Which photo? I missed the photo. Are we talking about the Championship Culture latest episode where myself and Justin Rich talked about the whole signature series and where he revealed that he won the undisputed championship at the Brock Lesnar signature series? That's what you're talking about?
That's what we were trying to talk about, but we got out. But since you brought it up, you had a show last night, sir. Signature series with a very special guest. Tell us about how they went on the latest episode of Championship Culture.
So to understand how we got here, let's talk about some of the steps. So Justin Rich from it's Justin Rich on all of his social medias had posted something on the Twitter Spaces and said basically, "Hey, I need the guy to review this." So I said, "Why not turn it into a whole championship series?" Championship Culture, where we did nothing but talk about the signature series. I gave my thoughts, he gave his thoughts. It was a good time had by all, engaged in some comments, but I would encourage any wrestling fan, after they watch this show tonight, go back and watch the on Wrestling Realm on our YouTube page and see our thoughts on the signature series, belts by WWE.
By the way, what's your favorite signature series belt, Brother Brandon?
My favorite one is actually the Eddie Guerrero one, because I feel like that was his defining moment when he won the title, and it was well earned, well deserved. It was just you can't look at that belt and not think about when Eddie won it. So that one was probably the one that stuck out to me the most, and I remembered the most because I remember watching him get that 3 count against Brock Lesnar. So it brings back nostalgia memories for me with Eddie Guerrero and that ring gear, how they made the belt strap in that form, just takes me straight to Eddie Guerrero and those matches they used that ring gear.
Well, that was a rather detailed explanation that you gave us.
Yeah. So,
but for those that want to continue to go in detail about this, I want you to head over to youtube.com/The Wrestling Realm, where you can get more championship culture content. So much coming soon. Brother Brandon, the guy, in case you haven't noticed, if you're watching, he's arrayed in championship belts behind him. This is what he does. He's the guy.
Mm-hmm.
So championship stop pointing my title. That's terrible.
okay.
Terrible, man. Terrible. Like this is what I was playing. This is what I was playing earlier. That's how I feel right now. And then he's just gonna hold that one up.
He's gonna grab the other one. Yep.
Okay.
No, he don't see what this is.
No, I do see what it is. Hold on.
Okay.
We're trying to do a show. Of course, Brian Nates goes out of town, right? And he and Brother Brandon wants to act a fool. Okay, he wants to act a fool because we had a conversation earlier about my championship title needs to be repaired. Right here, this is beauty, right? But he got like universal championship versions of our championships, right? And his needs to be repaired too. And he was supposed to get his done, and I said, Brother Brandon, let me know if your guy fixes your title. Let me know what he says, what he does. And he goes, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna get it today." Blah 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 blah. And this is exactly why I was like, he's like, "Listen, I'll let you hold this one while I get yours fixed." He's gonna do the exact same thing. Now he's sitting there with the title over his shoulder, so we can't even get the goddamn show started. So first of all, I'm
sorry. Let me go.
I'm just gonna hit a bunch of random sound effects because it doesn't even matter.
Let me just go ahead so you can start the show. Go ahead. I'm okay. My fault.
So first of all, let me ask you this.
Did you shine that one?
No,
it's shining.
He pulled out the spray.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Brian Nates is going to kill us because we're not staying on topic. We haven't even gotten the show started. Like I'm about to just sabotage everything. Like
Acknowledge me.
I'm telling you, I'm about to sabotage the whole show.
Yeah, he just gonna keep clicking.
Because everything. Like,
oh, you didn't know?
Are you lucky I can't find my Booker T sound effects because
it's okay. We're gonna stay focused.
It's not okay. We got to get the show.
I'm done with the shenanigans. Yeah, we're gonna start the show.
Okay, let me ask you a question before we get the show started.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get the belt fixed?
It was, and then it did it again. So
Are you
now we got to
serious?
come up with a plan B. Yep, dead serious.
So,
But I shot it up, so you couldn't even tell, could you?
so let me get it straight. So when you got it, it was repaired,
Yes,
and then what happened?
it happened again. The same spot.
It just came off.
Yep.
So did he tell you how you tried to fix the title? Y'all have to wait
Yes.
for the show to start because we got to
Yes.
get down to business. And what did he?
So
how did
I got an idea. He tried to, I think, solder it back, but
Okay.
it's a Bondo that he used because the solder didn't want to mess up the tape.
Yeah.
So he tried to use some kind of Bondo with, and I can tell what he tried to use, but he gave me an idea of something to do. So I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try something.
When did it break? Did it break in your possession? Like you got it back
Yes.
at home? Okay. And you pulled it out like, oh, look at my belt, and then it just broke.
Oh, yeah, I feel like it was the belt karma for me, but it does look good. Look, it does. I forgot how pretty it was in red.
Ooh.
There you go. This is. You might as well get one in blue, Mr. Universal Championship. Brothers,
The blue.
we got to get down to business. Welcome to the Wrestle Rum Now podcast. Brian is going to kill us. We spent the first 10 minutes with all shenanigans. Like, we got to get down to business. Today's show, good gentlemen, is about, it seems to be a wave. I've noticed a trend, and it seems that WWE has gone into overdrive when it comes to this part of the year. Like, we don't look at professional wrestling in a traditional wrestling sense when it comes to these type of things, but this is, we kind of break it down into seasons. And this is that awkward space between now and SummerSlam, where you feel like, now what does your major wrestling promotion do to kill some time? And I'm noticing that they are creating new stars. So that's the meat and potatoes of what today's about. And who better than us, the Wrestling Room, to have this conversation to figure out what it is, why it's important that WWE is choosing this particular moment in the wrestling season to decide to put the focus on either underutilized talent and new and upcoming stars. But first, I was going to ask you, brothers, how you guys are doing this week, but you guys trolled me as soon as I got on. So no, I don't care anymore. I don't care how you guys are doing. How about that? I don't care how your weeks are going. But you know what I do care about? What did you guys watch this week? Hold on. See, I'm hitting all the buttons today. What did you guys get into? I know we watch our normal professional wrestling throughout the week, but gentlemen, anything in particular that you watched to kind of tickle your fancy to get your mind ready for today's show?
You going first here? You got it?
You good? You good? Good.
Okay. So I went back. Yeah, I went back, and that's why I sent the text message. I did not realize Carmelo Hayes, his entrance music really hits a little different. So I went back and watched him and Braun Breaker's matches to get myself prepared for Braun Breaker and Seth, because I'm like, all right, let's see what he can do. Because I'm still not sold on Braun Breaker, but I'm 100% sold on Carmelo. And his whole presentation,
wait a goddamn
you can see how it evolved.
Minute.
Yep.
Let me get this straight. You said this is usually the part where Brian just would like clip it off for social media.
Right.
So you said you're sold on Carmelo Hayes, but you're not sold on Braun Breaker, correct?
I feel like it's still something missing with him.
Okay.
I don't get the tan. I don't get the heel. I feel like something still is missing. Like I don't have a feeling towards him. I don't hate him. I don't like him. It's just he's just there. But I feel like Carmelo, he's in that good space where, like him or hate him, he's in the conversation. And every match that he's had with Braun, he's been the one that I'm really focused on. And I just wanted to see, because I said I think that he could have some good matches, but I think by SummerSlam we're going to have a multi-man match for this NXT title, because the way that they're doing certain things, especially with Baron Corbin, and I think that the Seth is just a distraction for us to get him back into that title picture. To say he took on a world champion. Look how he came out better in defeat, to try to give him that extra oomph. And then having him, Baron Corbin, and I'm sending out Ilyanov, Dragunov, and Carmelo in a multi-man match, probably for SummerSlam. I feel like that's the route we're going to go, some way, shape, or form. But that's what I watched. I went back and rewatched Braun and Carmelo's. I don't want to call it a feud, but I watched their matches, the last couple one, especially at the last one was Stand and Deliver. Is that the one that was in Boston? I get their pay-per-views. Ever since they went away from takeovers, I get confused with the names now, to be honest with you.
I mean, that's fair. What about you, Brother Hugh? What did you get into this week?
I actually started watching Dark Side of the Ring. I saw
Can you
Magnum.
stand it? Can you stand Dark Side of the Ring? Because I'm telling you, man, it is cringy for me. Like
It,
I just like, oof.
it is, but I like watching that stuff. You know, I like to know what, like, everything that's going on, everything that caused like this guy to be what he is, or this
Got it.
person to be what they are.
Mhm.
Like, what was the motivation in their life? Like, what happened? What really pushed them to go and do what they're doing? Like, I enjoy it. I watched Magnum TA, and then I watched Candido. I finished that one with
How did you?
Sonny.
How did you? Oh, ugh. I don't even want to
I didn't know
like.
Magnum TA had one. Now you
Yeah,
got me intrigued because
yeah,
I'm
Magnum
scared to
TA.
watch
Yeah,
the Jake the Snake and the Iron Sheik one because I've heard really, really, really good things about it. But
I
they
ain't
said you got
get.
to be prepared to watch it.
Yeah,
That's
I didn't get to them yet, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be very good, man.
how did you
For
feel,
real.
brother, after watching those? I know you say you watch them to kind of you want to know kind of everything, right?
Oh,
And
yeah.
how did you feel going into it, and then seeing both of those episodes, and what did you take away from?
Well, as far as Magnum TA, honestly, I didn't really know too much about him.
Mhm.
I knew of him,
Yeah,
but to really dive deep into his story and find out that, like, basically a car crash ended his career,
yeah.
and he was basically supposed to be Hulk Hogan.
That's what they kept saying. He was next
Yeah,
up.
and just looking at some of the clips and the highlights and whatnot, he seemed like he had it all. The
Mhm.
charisma, it yeah, it was impeccable, man. Like, he was the man at that time, and he was getting ready for that push, and then unfortunately that car accident happened and messed him up for the rest of his life. Candido, I pretty much knew about for the
Right. Yeah.
most part, with him and Sonny.
Mhm.
It is what it is. We already know she's still having her problems too, from what I believe.
Yeah.
Um, it's just unfortunate with both of them because both of them were just crazy stars. Candido at the time in WWE, what was WWF at that time, but WWE, like, he just didn't have his place. He just didn't have a place. He had the look, but the gimmick, nah. The gimmick they gave him, it wasn't for him. He needed to go elsewhere. He needed to work without Sonny. So
I mean, he had his time in ECW.
he did. He did. I'm glad he went over there. Got his shine.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, trust me, two unbelievable talents and gentlemen who both have kind of made a name for themselves, and they kind of carved their place out in wrestling history. But let me tell you what I got into. I was watching some old King Booker
Oh yeah.
With the pinky up.
with the pinky up.
Big
It's
pinky.
for some reason, like I said, I remember being annoyed with that run
Oh
when it
yeah.
was going on, but man, did it grow on me a lot as I got older. Like, of course, you look at it stuff now, and it's you begin to appreciate different things. Like, I would make decisions back then, like, he's wearing those gold tights. I don't like those. I'm not watching it. Like, that's how I made decisions about how I watch pro wrestling. I'm a gear guy. Like the same way Brother Brandon is a belt guy. I'm a gear guy. But so I was going back and I was watching it, and I guess what intrigued me the most was, I believe it was I don't know if it was, well, I think it was on Booker's podcast, his Hall of Fame podcast, and he was talking about he regrets his time in TNA.
Oh yeah. He
And
did say that
after a
recently.
while, and I was just like, man, it's amazing how many guys went to TNA. Like, I didn't get my fair shake in WWE. Now it's my time to do my thing and be a star over here. And all of them pretty much said the same thing. Ric Flair said the same thing. Mick Foley said the same thing. And then come to find out, Booker T said the same thing. Like, man, it was just a waste of time. After a while, we just collecting a paycheck. Bruce Pritchard, to a degree, said the same thing.
Mhm.
Like, look, man, I needed to work. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those situations. So, but that's what I kind of got into this week. But today, we've got to talk about a few different things. But since we have the guy with us, the Belt King himself, we got new women's titles unveiled over the weekend, some change. And we had a lot of mixed feelings, a lot of mixed reviews about the new women's world championships. Now, we had this discussion before, good brothers.
Mhm.
We had a feeling something was up. It's because when each of the women's champions were on opposite shows, they still held the opposite shows titles. And we were like, okay, they're obviously going to do something different because they haven't done an exchange. They haven't switched them up. They're just casually carrying around their respective championships that they won, but they were on the opposite shows. So we kind of had a feeling that, we're going to have new women's championships titles unveiled. And that's exactly what we got. Now, first, let me ask you this, because I know Brother Brad is going to go in. where you guys? First of all, are you guys happy with what you saw as far as the new women's titles unveiled? So that's the answer, Brother Hugh. How about you, Brother Brandon?
Yes.
Okay, so you see, he's smart though. Brother Brandon's smart because he's weaning his way into this, right? Okay. So and it's because he knows it's going to be a follow up. So with that being said, I know a lot of fans have brought up the fact that it seems that WWE, when it comes to their championships, have been considered unoriginal, and and I think Taekwon just hit on it right here. Like this is my point I was going to make. See, Taekwon was another guy that's a part of the show. His comments say, he says, I get the same designs for equality, but I'll prefer more unique designs. They're just okay to me. And to me, that was the whole point. I know there has been this cloud over women's wrestling that has kind of treated the way they have been booked as not necessarily inferior, but second tier to the men's product, right? Where it's like they're, instead of being a part of the show, they're like a novelty act. You know what I mean? Like, you know, back in the 80s, they used to have professional wrestling shows, but their dark matches were full of little people wrestling. You know what I mean? It's not a legitimate part of the show. It's almost like a gimmick, you know?
Yeah.
And that's how ladies wrestling, as they call it, lady wrestling kind of was at first. You know what I mean? But then it became a valued part of the product itself. And I think, to me, that was the two main reasons. For me, I think they have to do it that way. It's because you don't want one title to seem inferior to the other. And I'm talking about in regard to the men's title and the women's title. And to me, it's about equality. And they give you enough distinct characteristics to separate the two, you know, with the white straps. And I think both those titles look excellent with the white and gold, you know, especially the what's now considered the new WWE Women's Championship, and of course the Women's World Championship, you know, held by respectively Asuka and Rhea Ripley. Which title do you guys prefer? The women's or the WWE Championship? And I asked that for a reason. It's because they both look prestigious. They both have accents of gold. Look, Brandon's boiling in his seat right now.
He is.
Oh no, I'm good. I'm listening. I'm just taking it all in.
You got your preacher rag?
No, he's because you know he has a diatribe. He has a diatribe.
I haven't talked about it on purpose. I haven't talked about it on purpose on any social media or anything. I mentioned it last night on the show. I'm just waiting to hear everybody else's opinion before I be clipped off on social media.
Let me ask you, Brother Hugh. How did you feel about the presentation of the women's championship? Now, like I said, let me give you a background of what some of the I guess what I'm hearing, some of the arguments have been in regard to this. A lot of people felt some type of way because the design was the same. Like, oh, well, it's the same as the men's. It's unoriginal. One half says, well, you have to do that because you want to make sure that it's equal. You don't want to make one seem more important. You know, with like AEW's original women's design, that was really skinny. It was very old school, right? It reminded me of like wrestling, like when professional wrestling became entertainment and not an actual sport. Yeah, you know. But then eventually, if you notice, they changed the size of that title. They made it bigger for a reason. So, you know, but you have the WWE Women's Championship, and you had the World Heavyweight the World Championship with the women. And I noticed that a lot of people on one hand say, well, why didn't Triple H give out the women's titles? Why did they have Adam Pearce give out the women's titles in kind of the same presentation, which I didn't mind, is because when you look at the status of like a Roman Reigns and a Seth Rollins, their stories are just more prominent than Asuka's and Rhea Ripley's. Like theirs is just getting started versus those guys are prominent superstars. But what side of the fence did you fall on, Brother Hugh, when you heard these arguments on social media? And Brother Brandon, you're right after that.
Well, first of all, the white strap. I'm convinced, man. I'm convinced that it's just fire, bro.
It's different, don't it?
No matter what belt you get, if you put that white strap on it, 9 times out of 10, it's going to look good.
And you know the crazy part is, as far as crossover appeal, what's stopping me as a man from getting that title?
What?
Like nothing. Right. You know what I mean?
I'm a little dude too, so you know it fit me.
If it's big enough and it meets.
Well, remember the world one says women. The only one that say women. The other just say undisputed
world-
champion and white.
It says world champion, doesn't it?
It does.
No, it says women's world champion. They put the word women above world.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
So I mean, but it's still though. You know what I mean? Like I know Brandon, you have women's titles. Have you ever taken a women's title to a show? I know Corey has. Corey has, like, if he has an outfit that matches one of those titles, he's worn. Like I've seen it with the SmackDown Women's Championship.
Yeah.
And I remember, and he had the
Evolution belt.
the Evolution,
He
title.
wears.
Yeah, because he had the whole Evolution get up on, and I remember that. So, but go ahead, brother Hugh. So you said the white strap hits differently, doesn't it?
It hits differently, man. Like I was telling Brandon, when you saw Roman's belt, well, first of all, I think it was just the kind of, like I said before, the lighting that kind of threw me off.
It look like tinfoil.
Right.
Like foil, yeah.
Right. That W, it was just too dark. It was too, like, the silver. You couldn't see the silver accents on it.
Mm-hmm.
It looked all black, like black stones, and that's what threw me off at first. But as I keep looking at pictures of it, I'm like, yeah, it's a nice design. I get it. It's simple, but for marketing purposes on both ends, like, you can't go wrong with that.
Right.
You know, so I don't have too many complaints about it. I mean, I think the presentation was good. I don't really see why Triple H had to do it, but I understand also, look, maybe he should have done it. If you're still talking about equality and whatnot.
True.
Between the belts. But I also get what you said, Dwayne, about Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins being on a different level than what the women are on right now. But I hate to say it that way.
Yeah.
But let's be real. You know what I'm saying? But overall, the belts, I love them. I would like for them to be a little bit more unique, a little bit different. But like I said, for marketing purposes, business purposes, it's a home run.
Brother Brandon, your 2 cents, sir.
So before we get into that, shout out to everybody in the comments. I see the comments is blowing up about this, and everybody that's in there. Appreciate you joining into the wrestling round because it's about to get funky in here. Let me say this. Overall, I love the women's belt. The white strap does it. It just hits a little different. And when I say hits different, it's just that was just great. And I'm gonna stick by my words when I say this.
That's what we all agree on, right? When it comes to that white strap.
Yeah, we agree to the white strap.
Because you recently did a show, does the strap matter? Does the color of the strap make something look more prestigious or less prestigious?
Yep. And it's something about when you took that red or blue away and you just have this 3 colors that just it just does something different. The problem I'm having was not necessarily a presentation, because I'm going to address that in a minute, the order in which the belts were given. We should have gave Roman that belt right after WrestleMania. We knew he was getting it, so that way when Seth got his belt, it felt like it was a big deal and not a consolation prize. We debuted, this is the new title coming, here's the tournament. And then it felt like, oh, it's the I can't beat Roman prize. But if Roman would have got that single belt after WrestleMania, then Seth could have been the guy that he is now, but he would have been a little bit higher. I don't want to say in the pecking order because Roman is the top star, but he would have been higher level than what he is now. Not to say he's not high, but I think if we would have debuted that after this belt, and when I say Roman, give him his belt, give Seth, let it cool off, let us figure out what are we going to do with the women, and then do a presentation for the women, not necessarily similar to Roman or similar to Seth, but, have it that it's a thing. And honestly, who should have presented the belt? And I might get flagged for this. It should have been 1 or 2 people, either Stephanie McMahon or Beth. If Stephanie would have came out and presented one with the belt, or Beth Phoenix saying, I was one of the most dominant women's champion, I want to present you a women's title. Stephanie could have said, I was part of the forefront of change of women's wrestling when we made the women's champion. Now we're going to introduce the women's world champion. Congratulations, Rhea. It would have been a better presentation, because I feel like it was just, oh, by the way, come on, here's the formality. Come get your belt. There you go. And it kind of, okay.
No, go ahead, finish your point. Yep.
No, it kind of felt like it was like, all right, we knew it was coming. Here it is. It didn't have any pomp or circumstance or flair. And when I say flair, not Charlotte.
It don't matter.
Remember when
I was just about to say it don't matter. It's coming home to my
when
baby.
Rhea won. Remember when Rhea won the belt at WrestleMania? She felt like a super mega star at that moment. She couldn't even contain herself how excited she was in that moment. How could we duplicate that with a title? Maybe after she wins, Rhea, congratulations on your win, your dominance that you've had since WrestleMania. Now here's a new title. Or something else. It could have been in a different moment than just cut and paste and say, here we go. Now, I'm going to address one thing and I'm going to give it back to you, Dwayne.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
love when I read these comments about people hating, oh, everybody cut and paste. But where was that energy with New Japan Strong? They have 3 belts that look exactly the same with the different color strap. Nobody says anything about New Japan Strong champion, the women's champion, or the tag team champion. They just literally color swapped and put a different jewel at the top. Nobody say anything about New Japan with the never open weight 6-man and the never open weight champion, just changing one blue dot or
One's
red
blue,
dot.
one's red.
And definitely nobody better not say anything about AEW with the TNT and TBS titles. They just literally took 3 letters off and slapped 3 letters. It's the same exact belt. But as soon as WWE does a cookie cutter, everybody has an issue. And I'm not a WWE enthusiast. I'm a belt enthusiast. Have the same energy and complain about the same thing because, yeah, they did. They did cookie cutter. Everybody else did too, but it's a problem when WWE do it. But nobody say anything about, oh my God, look at the New Japan Strong women's title. It's just purple and it's smaller. Nobody said anything when ROH did it when they shrunk down their men's title and made it smaller. Nobody said anything. It's like, oh, okay, we're all right. It's WWE. Let's bash them because they're the biggest dog in the fight.
I was about to say that's exactly what it is.
I mean, that's usually how it goes, right? If you're the biggest, baddest dog on the block, people are gonna always go after you first. But I don't know. Maybe they did need a little more flair.
They got it.
To say that different. I guess like even with Asuka, if she would have, after she won the match and she became the new champion, they could have presented her with a new belt right then and there. Rhea Ripley after Money in the Bank, let's say she successfully defended, give her the belt then. It didn't have to be right away. Keep them like, what are we going to do? What's going to happen?
I guess my question to you is, Brother Brandon, is with the scenario that you presented in regard to how to present the championships to the women. Didn't we kind of have that already with Lita when she pretty much, I guess they unified the women's championship with the Divas championship, and she came out there and did the exact thing that you said, like, hey, this is about prestige. This is before the brand separation. At one point, that Raw women's title was just the new women's title championship. Remember,
that was getting rid of the Diva. Remember, they were getting rid of the Diva stigma of their division, and they said they'll just be known as wrestlers. Remember?
I mean, but it was the same promo though. Like you think about it, you bring out a legend, somebody that actually means something, somebody that held the women's championship when it was considered, prestigious, I guess you would say. You know what I mean? And then pretty much, hey, this is the belt that defines us women, and we need a championship that's fitting of a real champion, and it looked like the WWE championship. Isn't that the same scenario?
Yes, but you know why it was different?
Why is that?
And that's the only reason it was different. They were changing. So remember when, it's hard to say it this way, it was a new era of women's wrestling. We always talk about era of wrestling. We went from Attitude to, PG to whatever. This is going from Diva to women.
True.
And it was a big deal because Lita was trying to be in that Divas era and making it for women's change. So it was a big deal that she was presenting it. And it was a statement being made at the top. It's just like the WWE champion. It's just for women. And I thought that was a great way to do it on WrestleMania. And for it to say, Charlotte will be the last and whoever wins will be the new women's champion. And then when they presented, oh, never mind, we need one for SmackDown too. It was like, yeah, that's the belt. But then it became that's the tag champs. It went from red to blue.
You said Charlotte who? Say less. But yes, Brother Brandon almost choked on his ice as he drank his drink. No, but I definitely I get it 100%. I am okay with the title changes at the end of the day. They look absolutely wonderful. They look the new World Heavyweight Championship is absolutely gorgeous. Like it didn't take long for me to like the WWE Championship is really, really nice too. And it's just like, man, I got a lot of belts to catch up on.
What?
Like I just got a list. It's like I'm at like 16 belts that I need to get. You know what I mean?
It keeps growing. It's going to keep growing too.
Yeah, because it's just like now I need a WWE Championship, but then I also need the new one. I need the new version. But I still need I need 3 big golds. I need the Original WCW. See, Brandon's laughing because this is what belt people do. I need the original WCW Big Gold, but I need like the 2001 version. I need the World Heavyweight Championship with the red strap because that's when the Christian held and Randy Orton. And then I need the new version, the modern day World Heavyweight Championship. That thing is an absolute, the Seth Rollins, as we'll call it. That thing is an absolute.
I kind of low key want that on a white strap.
Bro,
I really want that belt on.
Did you see the strap? This etching it is designed on the women's strap, and it may be on the men's, but it's like you can see it so much more defined.
It's under the main plate too.
It's all the way under it. I said, man, that thing is a beauty.
I said, why is it? And I don't know. I think the black side plates on the pictures, the stock plates, even though Rhea had our own side plates, I'm like, it looks better on their belt than it does the men's belt.
Maybe because it just stands out with the color. Just there's a natural
the
pop.
Black just hits.
Yeah. But as we talk about developing a new championship, we have to get into the meat and potatoes of today's show, which is the developing of new talent and its importance. It's no secret that with Triple H in charge, we know the focus has always been on always sustaining the brand, developing new talent, always being able to maintain and to grow your product through future stars and developing new and upcoming talent to be your future talent. By all means, we are enjoying the talent today that at one point were relatively no names in NXT. And 5, 6, 7, 8 years down the line, here we are now. We're enjoying so much of what they do, and they're actually carrying the show.
Yep.
With Shawn Michaels running the show in NXT, and of course Triple H in charge, and William Regal being his right hand man, and so many others. Help me understand this, brothers. Is it me, or is it kind of obvious that WWE is taking this time in between SummerSlam and all these other important pay-per-views to say we got to start pushing new talent? And I'll give an example of what I'm talking about, which is what we're going to get into today. If you look at the Money in the Bank participants for this year so far, on the men's and women's side, for the most part, you look at some of the latest matchups that we're getting. Some of they've teased these brand new feuds that we're getting into, like AJ and Karrion Kross and Cody Rhodes working with Dominic Mysterio on a pay-per-view. Shinsuke and Ricochet / Bronson Reed and Zoe Starks and Trish Stratus, Becky Lynch, Rey Mysterio being a mentor role / manager to the LWO, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we also see a lot of returning main roster stars to NXT that fit perfectly in what they're doing, because and trust me, we'll get into all this stuff. I know people wait for us to break this down, but I'm noticing this trend where they're taking underutilized guys like Humberto Carrillo and Angel Garza, Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler about to unify the women's championship. So that means they're going to be working with all women's tag teams, not just show focused, not just on Raw, not just on SmackDown, but just literally all women's tag teams. You have Dana Brooke, who is a cult favorite. She has a very, very strong following. And you have Baron Corbin, who's showing his face. He's taking his villainous prowess to NXT. You have Mustafa Ali, who I think is going to turn heel again. He's going to interfere in that North American Championship match somehow. And then you have Seth Rollins get ready to work with Braun Breaker at NXT Gold Rush. So we have a lot to talk about today, and we have to talk about why AEW doesn't do any of these things.
That's wild. That is very wild.
That was a wild segue.
Think about it. Let me go ahead and say it. This is another moment where Brian is like, hold on, he would start marking this off because I'm about to shoot from the hip.
Uh-oh.
I've been saying this from the very beginning. This is my issue with NXT, with not NXT, with freaking AEW and NXT to a degree. Don't get me wrong. You need established brands and established names to work with new talent. It's because you have to give people a reason to continually care about why one guy is good, one guy is bad. At its most simplest form, that's professional wrestling 101. You need stars to make stars. They don't got to be mega stars. They just have to be familiar faces, right?
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, that's why you need those established brands. WCW wouldn't be in existence today if Hogan didn't make the appearances if he didn't show up, if Macho Man didn't show up, if Ted DiBiase and them didn't show up. And guess what? They were still in the toilet. They legitimized WCW as a company as a whole, but they were nowhere near competition until two of the stars of the new generation, the Outsiders, Kevin Nash, Big Sexy himself, and God rest his soul, Scott Hall, Razor Ramon, showed up in WCW, and all of a sudden to bring more eyes, more products, and guarantee contracts to the world of professional wrestling. You know what I mean? They needed that new fresh blood to do so. You needed those names to establish. You had talent over there. You had Ric Flair. You had all these other guys that people were relatively familiar with, but you need those established brands to help make people. We always talk about Diamond Dallas Page and one of his most famous feuds with the Macho Man Randy Savage, and how big of a deal it was for Macho Man to take the Diamond Cutter. It naturally made Diamond Dallas Page a made man because it was an established brand that helped a new popular face become what he became. Brandon, this is for you. We saw AJ Styles do the same thing in TNA. I remember for years he kept going toe to toe with Jeff Jarrett, and every once in a while he would beat Jeff Jarrett, and Jeff Jarrett would cheat and get that title back, and the chase continued over and over again. But as a new guy clicking, and you see these TNA commercials, I see this dude with shorts and a hoodie on, flipping all over the cage, but I recognize Jeff Jarrett though. I'm like, wait a minute, that's Jeff Jarrett. I see the shorts, I see the guitar, I see the title. I'm like, what's going on here? And it's those situations where you have these established brands working with new talent to make them important. I remember Kurt Angle in Samoa Joe's first encounter. I remember the headbutt. I remember Samoa Joe versus Sting. Like, these things are important. With that being said, I don't see AEW doing any of those things. Jericho can't do it all by his goddamn self. Jericho has done an excellent job with it, but he's only one person. We saw Cody try to do it. I don't think Cody was successful at it in AEW, to be honest with you. People weren't ready for that version of Cody just yet. Cody was in AEW like he was already retired. That's how he wrestled. That's how he was booked. But we're seeing that focus right now in WWE. And we'll start with the Money in the Bank. So far, what we have for the men's side, let's just start with the men. So far in the match, we have Santos Escobar. That's how I say his name. We have LA Knight. We have Ricochet. Yeah. We have Shinsuke Nakamura. We have Pete Dunne, a.k.a. Butchie. And we have Damian Priest. Now, not necessarily all considered young guys. You know, these are all veterans in the business. These guys have all been wrestling for a long time. But these are all brand new faces. We have, at least so far, 6 guys in this match who have never been world champions in WWE. Now, we've noticed that Money in the Bank has kind of switched up their approach, and the stipulation is not necessarily for a world championship contract. It's for any championship title throughout the WWE. So it kind of takes the stranglehold off the concept where whoever wins the Money in the Bank has to be the next world champion. And right now, that's just not happening no time soon, especially with Seth, especially with Roman. And then you still got to get in line. You still got guys like Cody. You still got guys like Drew before they leave. You know, still guys lying in wait for their turn. So, gentlemen, when you look at this Money in the Bank card, what does this tell you about the way WWE is focusing on new talent in this main event style-esque kind of frame that we're looking at right now? Brother Hugh, let's start with you.
Oh, my fault. Can you repeat that? My bad.
No. I was asking you, how do you feel about when you see the Money in the Bank main event match, right?
Mm-hmm.
What does it tell you about how WWE is approaching trying to put new faces in these situations as far as these main event caliber pay-per-views, matches, etc.?
It means that they're, number one, they're trying to build that third brand, like we said. That's the major thing right there. Mm-hmm. You get a guy like LA Knight, if he wins it, he can go down to NXT, win that title. It's automatically elevated. Same deal when we said with what was the last show? I believe it was last show. He was talking about how AJ went down to NXT, brought him brought Grayson over to Raw, and they had their feud going back and forth. It's all about helping the community grow as one, but at the same time, they're growing as individual brands within themselves. You see what I'm saying? So
makes sense.
I love it. I don't see NXT as the minor leagues anymore. Like, I actually want to watch NXT. Let's be real. Like,
no, they definitely have my attention.
Yeah, and it's definitely a difference from the old NXT. Like you said before, it was just all indies.
Yep.
All just like crazy talent. But character-wise, there wasn't a lot of like characters being built.
None of NXT's male characters made it to the main roster. Let's keep it 100.
None of them.
Like, even
Carrion did, but I mean,
But see, Karrion was an indie guy though.
Yeah.
Think about it. Like it's like you said, that NXT at its highest was all those guys that didn't get a big stage before. They didn't get a proper platform. They didn't get that opportunity. And it's like they've been doing it for years and years and years. But we kind of knew who they were. And there was a handful that we may not have been all familiar with, but we kind of knew where they came from.
Right.
Excellent point.
We actually talked about this, didn't we, Brandon? We was talking about this the other day. Talking about how maybe they should have made this push after that Survivor Series. Remember when NXT took it all?
Yep.
Yeah, kind of.
They could have possibly made that run then.
Yep.
Brother Brandon, what do you see when you notice a Money in the Bank card of this caliber for the first time in a long time? Usually we look at Money in the Bank like let's put the top guys that potentially world champion, and then you put maybe one or two unfamiliar faces in that group. But it seems like this is a relatively new crop of guys that is in this match. What does it show you about WWE's focus on developing new talent or trying to utilize talent that we haven't seen in this light before?
So you're gonna laugh when I say this.
Oh
Triple
boy, here we
H
go.
said,
I know, right?
"Give me characters in this match that no matter who wins, you're gonna talk about this match." This is the first time I think in the Money in the Bank history we don't have names like Drew McIntyre, Bobby Lashley, Cody, Finn, Kevin Owens, Ziggler, Sheamus, all of these established former world champions that always sneak into these matches. Just had that one or two moment for like Shelton Benjamin to flip off a ladder, Ricochet to flip off a ladder. You actually said, nope. Any person on that, any of those guys can be a Money in the Bank winner. And let's be honest, we got a storyline with Damian Priest and the whole Judgment Day. You got Butch, who is he going to go back to Pete Dunne? Is he leaving the Brawling Brutes? Why is he the one getting pushed from the Brawling Brutes? Not Sheamus, not Ridge Holland.
He's a former UK champion.
One of the longest reigning UK champions.
Yes,
you got Shinsuke, who's a former Royal Rumble winner, has everything but a world title as WWE standards to be a Grand Slam and Triple Crown champion.
Hey, and don't forget
Ricochet.
Don't forget they acknowledge his New Japan stuff now. Ever since
they do.
They acknowledge him being a former IWGP World Champion and IWGP Intercontinental Champion. Go ahead.
Yep. You got Ricochet, who out of all of them has an accolade that nobody has, that he's been the U.S., North American, and the Intercontinental Champion. There's a story right there. You're telling a story with him and Shinsuke. So if neither one of them get the belt, that's a feud that you can have them wrestle probably through Survivor Series. You got LA Knight, who just is going to keep pushing in your face that, hey, they want me. You got to do something with me. Whether you're going to give me this briefcase or you're going to give me something. And then you got Santos, who I don't even know the last time the other LWO members even wrestled outside of Zelina. It's either him or her. And it's like, you keep pushing him to the forefront because that's one of those Triple H projects done right. And now he's trying to recreate his, let me show you, I can build these stars that next year this time, if any of them in the same match. Because if you think about the North American title match, the first thing that count on the North American champion was a ladder match.
Right.
And he took 6 stars. It was 6, right? And 4 of them were indie darlings and 2 were brand new faces. And they made magic. And it made you remember that Ricochet doing that back moonsault and Adam Cole kicking him and mid-flip. Different things that they did made you remember. And if you want to go back and see a good ladder match, just go to that match right there. This match, no matter who wins, you're going to get another story that he's going to take us to SummerSlam or might last to the Rumble. He's given us enough programming in TV because, let's be honest, if Ricochet doesn't win, we know he's going to fight Shinsuke, but he's going to come out better because Shinsuke is going to make him look good, and he's going to make Shinsuke look good because they can wrestle each other's style. Damien, we just want to see him do something, or waiting. Well, will they turn on him? Will he just take the dominant leadership? What's going to happen to the? It's so many stories weaving into this match that we still got time before we even see it. We still got more stories to put in here that we can see.
And I think that's the Triple H trick that we've talked about on so many different occasions, is that Triple H is purposely doing so many things. So it's like we almost have too many choices. Like you said, Brother Hugh, back in the day, you can tell based off who was in the championship. Okay, he's clearly up next,
Yep.
and everybody around him is not like he's the stunt guy. He's
Yep.
there to act like he's supposed to be there, and he's not supposed to be there. He's there to flip off the ladder, and it's like you could almost kind of say, we kind of know where this is going. But it's like, to your point, brother Brandon, there's so many different elements to the participants that it can go a number of different ways. It's going to be hard to predict, especially now with the stipulation where it says you're eligible for any championship. So
And
you're like,
that's something that we got to pay attention to, because now,
Mhm.
does this person float between all three brands? Will we see the Money in the Bank winner on NXT on Tuesday looking at the North American champion? Will we see them on SmackDown looking at Austin Theory? Will we see them looking at Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn on Monday talking about, I got this briefcase. I can come after you too.
and that's the kind of the fluidity of, especially, I know Nick, this WWE CEO Nick Khan, has been really, really trying to push NXT to be a solid third brand because of, once again, the business that it does. It does well as far as television for NXT as it's on its own, right? So now you're noticing him going, well, shoot, let's try to put a focus on this a little bit more and try to incorporate some things that make people want to sit over and watch. Like I watched, I'll save it because I don't want to get NXT. We'll save it for that towards the end. But no, I think excellent point to all those things. But Money in the Bank is definitely, like I said, I still think there's a few more pieces to the puzzle. And I don't know, Dylan. That's a good. Dylan thinks that Drew's coming back as a Scottish psychopath. It's hard to configure these things out during the Triple H era.
Mhm.
They incorporate so much realism into, how they present what happens next to us. It's hard to put our 2 cents on it. But let's talk about a few of these matchups. I know I mentioned some of these gals before, with like Karrion Cross. I feel like that they're passing Karrion Cross down the line. Like, okay, we got to get let's get all the ring generals to see who can work with him the best, and see what sticks.
He might have found
As-
the
He
one.
needs Randy Orton.
He needs Randy Orton real bad, but I don't know if he can hang on Randy Orton. That makes me nervous. Because Randy Orton,
Randy will get it. Randy will he'll pull it out of him.
Yeah, and listen, if he can pull it out of Jinder Mahal, which Jinder Mahal's like, we got to do a show of like everybody's favorites that everybody hates, because I love Jinder Mahal and everybody's like, oh, he's one of the worst. I'm like, where? But he's one of my all-time favorites. But
Maharaja,
the modern day Maharaja, and then
That's
he's
right.
now he's doing the manager / wrestler gimmick. AJ Styles and Karrion Cross. I'm like, okay, cool. Here you go. You got another new face going after a veteran. Dominic Mysterio, the biggest heat seeker in the company, slapping Cody Rhodes, wanting a piece of that. And it's just like, everybody's like, oh, that's dumb. Why would he? I said, bro, you got to, first of all, Cody's buying time. And why wouldn't Dominic Mysterio's still in graduate school. You know what I mean? He's still working with all the best guys, all the best talent. He's getting such a reaction. Like, who would have thought that Rey Mysterio's son turned into a bad guy would be one of the biggest heels in all of professional wrestling across the board?
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Stand that guy.
He's just getting started. He's a young face.
And he's doing his job. That's the thing that I hate.
Yes.
He's making you just like, oh, here he comes.
Rhea Ripley's another one. Like, she is ridiculous. Like she's involved in multiple storylines, and she's carrying her own. But she's someone that they invested in early on, and it's paying off now. It's because, first of all, their chemistry is off the charts, and it's hilarious. To see how they come out. See, Dylan says this. He says that Dom correction. Dom is the biggest heat magnet in pro wrestling, not just WWE. And that's, you know what? I'm not inclined to disagree with you. But yeah. So, but what do you guys?
Did you see what else he put? Look what else he put.
Oh, he said that's when Dom doesn't have to speak to get that loud. Yeah,
he really does. He just got to come out there. He don't even need his music to hit.
Which one of you guys made that argument? Like, who's the biggest heat seeker, MJF or Dominic Mysterio? Was that?
Yeah, I did that a while back. Yeah,
that's something brother he put up there. And I was like, oof, that's tough. But yeah, Dominic Mysterio doesn't have to do anything. He just comes out there and smirks and pisses everybody off.
Everybody.
But how do you guys feel lately about the matchups right now? Like, I know we're when I saw Zoe Starks at the Royal Rumble, she stood out to me. First of all, I couldn't figure out if she was black. And I said, is she black? I can't tell. I was trying to figure her ethnicity. But she stood out to me out of all the women that I noticed. I was like, oh no, she's really, really good. And you fast forward to today, her beefing with Becky Lynch, but she's also now she's She's Trish Stratus's heater.
Yep.
And I'm like, man, like what better rub would you want as a young superstar, especially on the women's side, to work with two of the greatest. First of all, one of the greatest to ever do it in Trish Stratus, and then one of the active greatest, like Becky Lynch is top tier. And I'm not talking about which, I'm talking just top tier, period. Like she was one of the few stars that was drawing money on the women's side. It was like, nah, like Becky Lynch's name carries weight. And now she's right in the middle of it, right? So she gets to take all those bumps for Trish Stratus with the association, but then she has a chance to, weekly go toe to toe with Becky Lynch. And it's just like, man, they're really, really taking these new. She was not a household name for us, the 25%. You know what I mean?
No, not at all.
And now here she is front and center. Like, and
But
it
we
seems
forgot that.
in a short amount of time. Now go ahead.
I was gonna say, and then that match has a lot of history too, because we got the Becky and Bailey, but we also can't forget Zoe Starks and Io got history. That Triple H, he don't like to play like we stupid wrestling fans. He like to put it out there.
He does continuation.
Right.
I'm waiting to see if they're gonna say something about them being former tag champs. I can't wait for that to come out. The film them to say it in the match, or like they have a moment where they look at each other and they turn on Bailey. Well, Io turns on Bailey because that's our former tag team champion. Because who's to say they won't go back to that? I mean, go back to that reference point.
No, it's honestly no doubt in my mind, and it's just, I think when you look at it from WWE's perspective, you have to figure out where your future lies, and you got to get them started early. I feel like AEW doesn't do enough of that. They do it a little bit, but it's never enough to keep the momentum going because they're always like looking to the next thing. Like I call it, I consider it hot shot booking. You know what I mean? You have this moment, it's great, it works, and then once it fizzles out, you don't find a way to make it work. You're just like, all right, let's move on to the next thing.
The next announcement.
Yeah, the next big announcement. CM Punk is returning. Okay, again. That's like Edge. Like Edge returns all the time. Next big announcement.
Another announcement next week.
My
announcement is I'm gonna have an announcement next week.
Dang, man, I forgot Edge left again.
Edge. Edge. They're gonna be like Drew Galloway signs with AEW.
He's all elite.
Yeah, he got to make an announcement on Twitter that he's going to make the announcement.
There you go. Makes the announcement on Twitter that he's going to make an announcement. So we've noticed that the matchups have changed. We noticed that a lot of veterans are working with underutilized talents. Now, as we kind of wrap up, because we're not going to be here long, how do you guys feel about? Crazy part is that the highlight of the show, the main event of the show, is NXT. We have a pay-per-view coming up called NXT Gold Rush, where Seth Rollins, he answered the challenge of Braun Breaker. So he shows up to NXT last week, Tuesday, and Seth Rollins said he is crazy enough to accept this challenge. He said it would be great to come on home. Did you guys, first of all, let me ask, did you guys get a chance to watch that?
I did not.
Bro, Brother Hugh, go back and watch the clip. You didn't got to watch the whole thing. Trust me. Watch the clip.
Yeah, just watch the clip.
First of all, Braun Breaker came out there and they were already singing Seth Rollins' song. So Seth Rollins wasn't even there. Music hit or nothing. They were singing they call it his what they call his war chant.
Right.
Or his
war hymn.
Something crazy.
His war hymn. Yeah. And Braun Breaker, first of all, he's handling it like a champ. Like Finn almost stumbled. I'm glad Finn stayed angry when he did, because he almost couldn't get his promo off. But he held it down like a true pro. But Braun Breaker, he cuts his promo. First of all, he talks about Ilya Dragunov and tells him, I took him out for one of the most dominant NXT UK champions. And then halfway through, Ilya Dragunov he's got a receipt waiting for Braun Breaker. So like he can sit there and challenge Seth Rollins if he wants to. That's the man to beat Walter. So like, I ain't talking about Gunther. I'm talking about he'd beat Walter. Like don't play with
Walter
that.
Say, stop, hold on. I'm done. I'm done.
He beat Ilya Dragunov is not to be played with, but he sat there, picked a fight with him, but then he challenges Seth Rollins to a World Heavyweight Championship. Seth Rollins accepts. They play his music, and first of all, when Seth Rollins showed up and accepted that match, everybody in the NXT, right in the Capital Wrestling Complex, whatever they call it now, they went insane, Brother Hugh. And I was like, man, can you imagine Seth Rollins showing up in that little bit of arena? It's like him going back to the Indies.
It's crazy.
It's going to be insane. It is going to be insane. I expect NXT to do big ratings, but I was shocked to see it. But man, this is what Braun Breaker needs, and I'm glad that they have enough stipulations and storylines where they're not afraid to say, we're going to take our top guy and take him to this level and have him work with developmental talent. It happened with him. Like he had a chance to work with CM Punk when NXT was first getting started, when they were first transitioning from FCW NXT, you know? And now once again, we're seeing this focus between Nick Khan, Shawn Michaels, and Triple H. We're seeing this crazy combination of like, man, we can spread these guys across the platform, you know? So you start at the top with like a Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins, you know, fighting for the World Heavyweight Championship. But then you also have people like Dana Brooke that shows up on NXT, someone that has been very vocal about her positioning. And then again, it's like, well, Dana Brooke is still Dana Brooke. When you have nothing but new talent in NXT, and you're trying to get them familiar, but why not put them in a match with someone at least you know? You know, Baron Corbin, the #1 contender for the NXT Championship. He's got to be the biggest villain. I don't think they have a bigger villain down there but him. And it's like you need that. You need these dance partners to make you care about what these guys do next. Like you cared about Carmelo Hayes and Braun Breaker because these were the young guns. They told the story behind closed doors. When Triple H, when we got the truth, I'll say, because remember, we were like, what are they doing in NXT? But Triple H and them made it clear, we're throwing out the old playbook. We got to go back to start from scratch. We did the indie runs. They're all gone. Either we got them in it or AEW has them. And they said that those are the two guys that they were like, we're going to pitch this card to you. So that match had meaning to it, you know? But then after that match, it was like, well, where do we go? Same thing with Braun Breaker when he worked with Dolph Ziggler.
You know what I mean? Apollo. Remember, they tried it with Apollo.
He worked with Apollo too. Yeah.
They try to get Apollo going. It's like, because when you have one top guy, it's like you don't have enough top guys to create these moments with. And I think that's a crucial part. Baron Corbin is annoying, but he's got to be one of the biggest wrestling villains out there. And him being the #1 contender for NXT makes that much sense. Brother Hugh, are you okay with talent like Baron Corbin and Dana Brooks, these main roster talents coming to NXT, but still getting high positions within that product, you know, for these pay-per-views? Like Baron Corbin's been all over the place, but yet he's now the #1 contender for the NXT champion, and there's a good chance he can probably beat Carmelo Hayes. Are you okay with that type of positioning with those main roster people coming back to NXT?
Oh, absolutely. It's needed.
It's needed. Why? Tell us why.
It's needed on both hands. Like I said before, it builds the NXT stars, gets them in the ring with another dance partner, you know, with a veteran, and then you have these veterans coming down, and they bringing more eyes to NXT.
Bingo.
It works both ways. I do have a question for you though, brother.
Yes, sir.
Realness. What's going on with Baron Corbin's gear, man?
I'm gonna be honest with you, and as much as I want to make fun of him right now, I'm not gonna do it. You know why? Let me tell you why, bro. I was on Twitter, right? And somebody was like, they made a comment about Baron Corbin's weight. He said, look at the fat around his stomach. Like, it's just like, what is he doing? They were criticizing his physique, you know, same way they get on Adam Cole, his physique, and he just rips this person a whole new one. He starts going, and I was shocked because usually bad guys don't mind being talked about, but you can tell this person hit a sore spot. Yeah. Baron Corbin responded. He said, "You piece of ish. I've lost over 80 pounds since playing football. I'm very dedicated to my diet, probably more dedicated than you have again. You piece of so F off." I was like, he struck a nerve, but it's a sensitive subject for him.
He looks much better.
Well, because
he was an offensive lineman, wasn't he? He was
exactly what he looked like. He looked like an offensive lineman. Yes, sir. You know, but we've all made fun of Baron Corbin, but I think I'm gonna stop now.
I just don't like the basketball shorts and the boots. I just want him to get something that fits his personality.
I just feel like he's insecure about his look right now. You know what I mean? And he looks like he ready to go outside the hoop. I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself. But yeah, man, I don't know. I've never been a Baron Corbin fan, so it makes sense for him to piss me off wearing hooping shorts, looking like freaking what's his name? Not Montez Ford, the other one, the Angelo Dawkins.
But he wears tennis shoes with it.
His first shorts are too big, like it's 2004, bro. We don't wear shorts that big no more.
But then it fits.
But he wears Under Armour leggings.
It is,
yeah, that fits.
And that's the thing, though.
He's down and out, so I mean,
it fits his gimmick, because if you notice, that was like, I'm talking like the very first Street Profits like promos when they first like made the announcement on NXT, they were like going to be a tag team. They were in like basketball courts. They were all the stereotypical black places.
Yep.
So you know what I mean. It makes sense though. But man, How about you, Brandon? How do you feel about these main roster guys coming to NXT and kind of having these spots, like Baron Corbin being the #1 contender for the NXT Championship, or guys like a Braun Breaker all of a sudden in developmental challenging the World Heavyweight Championship, the workhorse champion. He was shooting from the hip. He was saying all kinds of stuff I didn't know if you could say on TV. Like, oh, so you the workhorse champion, right? I was like, oh, wait a minute.
Oh, I missed all that.
And see, I feel like
Listen, brother, go back and watch it. It's really good.
Yeah, it's really. And when Seth comes in, Seth just makes sure he doesn't hide the fact that he was in NXT. He was like, that's why I got my start. We're former champions. We're former. He hits all the cylinders of a Seth promo. But the thing I like about this NXT now, I'm just calling it NXT 3.0, just for the sake of argument. When NXT stopped being the game show to NXT Black and Gold, they had names, but they had a small audience that didn't know that's a WWE product. So now we have a lot of WWE names and a product everybody knows what NXT is. It's rebranding, but think about the first NXT. What was the main event for the NXT World Title? Come on, Dwayne, you should remember this.
It was Jinder Mahal.
Who was it between? Jinder wasn't a super mega star. No, he wasn't WWE champion at the time. He was sent back to work with these guys. Yeah. Alicia Fox was sent back to work with the women. We had Natalia go down there and work with Charlotte. We had
NXT takeover.
We had wrestlers go back. John Cena even made an appearance. So it's the same thing. John Cena made an appearance. Why not have Seth make an appearance? And then I think it's good because we got to see the flip side of it. I was happy we got to see Carmelo and Trick on SmackDown. That
was a nice touch, though. That was a nice touch. It wasn't too much. And to your point, I'm gonna let you keep going, Brandon. Is they treated those guys like a big deal. Like they treated them like they were special guests. Like, oh, we have NXT superstars. You know what I mean?
Right.
Right here. Look who's here. The NXT World Champ. You know what I mean? It was like, oh, okay. And Trick Williams, you knew. So even if you never watched NXT, like, who's those guys? Why are they pointing them out? Let me go see what it is.
It's that cross promotion,
and it's on Fox.
Yeah.
Yep. So I think the only thing that they missing is promotional material to cross brand them, because right now, think about the Cricket Wireless. We only see Raw and SmackDown stars. Why not throw a Braun Breaker on something like the commercials with something? You know what I mean? Like, give us somebody else. Why not see a Gigi Dolan on some commercial with something? It ain't got to be I'm just saying Cricket Wireless because we didn't see anybody on Cricket Wireless.
Sure.
Yeah. Give us an NXT person so that way it makes you pay attention. But I love the fact that we got this 3.0. It's starting to establish itself, and you're starting to say, okay, I don't know what I'm going to get. Even when Tyler Breeze went back, it was a big deal that he went back because it was like, really didn't have a footing on the main roster, but he's home. They, and they bouncing people back because it's like right now, Scripps is actually working out better as Script than he was as Reggie. And him and Axiom together, I'm like, that's actually a neat pairing. Okay, they figured out what to do with him.
Yeah.
It was like,
I felt the same way early in when NXT was kind of becoming NXT, when Rhino went back to NXT.
Yep.
Like NXT was like, to me, like WWE's indie territory, and him fresh off of, I think he had just left TNA. I could be wrong. He was in Ring of Honor. Excuse me.
Yeah,
was he Ring of Honor when he came back?
I believe it was Ring of Honor.
Because remember, he was working with Matt Hardy. He was working with the Briscoes. He was.
Wow. I totally forgot that.
Because remember, we went to a show. He was facing off with Michael Elgin and stuff like that, and we were like, "Oh yeah, this is the House of Truth thing." He was still doing. He was.
That's right. He was.
When NXT got the network deal, I want to say this is a little bit before they were on Hulu, but I remember I was like, oh snap! Like, he didn't go. Rhino's a former WWE superstar, former ECW superstar. He didn't go back to the main roster. He didn't go to Raw, SmackDown. Like, he purposely went back to NXT, and I liked him in that set. I just always like Rhino in smaller settings because he's treated like that much of a big deal. You know what I mean?
Right.
And man, I'm a huge fan of.
Look at Dragon Lee.
Dragon Lee's another one. Like, he didn't have to be in NXT. You know what I mean? But it's just like, man, by the time he's done it in NXT, he's going to be an established brand. Especially like they have a TV deal. They come on USA Network, so it's not like you got to dig deep for their stuff. So I mean, I'm especially when I saw Humberto Carrillo and Angel Garza, I said, man,
I forgot they did come back. I forgot they went back.
their tag team division needs that because they have nothing but all brand new face tag teams in NXT. Like nobody knows who none of these people are. And it's like you need somebody to help make these guys.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I think that's somebody got something playing. Oh, sorry.
You. Just you.
Nope, it's not.
Not me.
Who knows? What in the world? It doesn't
You
matter.
still here?
No, we're good. Sorry,
It
I
was
just
you.
it was something playing in the background. It's like
It was
it's not like a commercial or something. Like you watch a YouTube and like all of a sudden like it's like one of
That
those.
commercial sucks.
Is it still there?
Sucks.
No, it went away.
No, you stopped it. Whatever you were doing.
No, I wasn't. I'm actually
but
watching.
Do you
I'm
hear
watching
him?
Kane and Undertaker though.
Do you hear him with his
See?
accusatory, his language? Like how this is.
Yeah.
You can't trust anybody that talks like that. That's why he stole my belt. Like he won't give it to me.
That's all right. He talking all tough on the show, but when he get on the phone with me tomorrow,
He gonna be
You know
like,
what I
"Oh, so
mean?
brother, you're like, no, don't let him get away with that, brother.
right?
He just accused you of something. He didn't know for sure if it was the truth or not.
I'm gonna let him have it. He feeling himself right now. I'm gonna let him have it.
It's all good. But like I said, we're gonna as we wrap this up. I love the fact that let's take a fan question. This is impromptu. It's Q&A with the Wrestling Rum. Dennis King says,
Yeah.
Tommaso Ciampa is back. What do you think they're doing with him, gentlemen? Let's answer his question. This is good. Q&A. Tommaso Ciampa.
DIY.
Let's talk about it, brother Hugh. What do you say? I'm gonna go to them and then we'll just have a group discussion, and we'll close the show on this. This is fun.
I was going to say the same thing. You definitely getting at least DIY.
Okay. Well, here's the thing with that whole situation. I'm okay with DIY, but DIY is a face tag team, baby face tag team. It doesn't get any bigger than Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Right? I can see Tommaso Ciampa as a heel. Duh. Can't see Johnny Gargano as a heel. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are going to have a crazy run because if you haven't noticed, they're the tag team champs and they've been main eventing pay-per-views. They've been main eventing Raws. They've been main eventing. Like these are main event guys that attack. When's the last time you seen any main eventers, any tag teams main event besides them and the Usos? They're living FTR's dream right now. I feel bad for FTR because everything that they said they were going to do, I've watched the Usos do it, and I've watched Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens do it. These guys are main eventing premium live events. They are main eventing weekly shows. And I'm like, they're the tag team champions. Since when do tag team champions like that's how strong they are as characters? That it's like, man, they're doing what people consider the impossible. It's because I remember Eric Bischoff, and I said it 1,000 times. He always said a lot of times pure blood tag teams don't draw. And when I mean pure blood, it's like we're hot because we're a tag team. Right. No, we're watching Kevin Owens main event player. We're watching Sami Zayn main event player, and they're the tag champions. And they've used that platform to main event shows. They're carrying the shows. They're carrying the shows.
They in multiple segments backstage.
Like, are you kidding me?
And
like,
I love Kevin Owens with his explosiveness, but that's why I say DIY. It's a lot of tag teams that they can mix it up with before they get to the titles.
Like who?
That is true.
First off, you wouldn't want to see them versus Otis and Chad Gable. Oh, we lost them. I would like to see them versus Otis and Chad Gable. Them versus the Viking Raiders. I think them versus the Viking Raiders could give us what the Viking Raiders are missing. Right. They just need to be not in a squash match. They need to be in an actual match that'll showcase them. Because they on Raw. I'm trying to think who other team on Raw. Imperium. There we go. Oh, yeah. Why can't we see DIY versus Imperium?
Because they're going to beat them because they're so popular. Like Imperium doesn't stand a chance against freaking a return to Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny G.
So first off, you gonna put some respect on Imperium. Remember, they were reigning, defending, and part of the NXT tag division on both UK and regular NXT.
Yeah,
whether it was the 4-man iteration or 3, they were good.
They were good, but you see the pronouns and stuff that you're using. They were
because
good.
They can't because the focus is on who right
Gunta.
now. Exactly.
Right. So why would you sit there and put them in a situation like, for instance, like name
the Brawling Brutes?
Name all the top.
They the same situation.
Name all the top tag teams right now. We have
Name all of them.
like legit contenders. Like we have the Viking Raiders that are just, this is the best version of them that I've seen in a long time. They have embellished that gimmick, that character, just tenfold. You know what I mean? You have the Street Profits, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You know, and I'm naming tag teams that are like involved in tag team stuff, not involved like the Usos and the storylines. You do have Imperium, you know, you have Alpha Academy with Otis and Shorty G, Chad Gable, and then Indus Shear, which is legit, and then you still got, and you got my jobber tag was Hurt My Heart, which is Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander, who they're going to have a match on Monday, right? They face off with is it Indus Shear or it's Indus Shear next week, right?
It's Indus Shear.
I'm looking forward to that.
They want to end them or something. I just
hate the fact that they're enhancement talent. You know what I mean? It's like that run can't be over just that fast. And not that it's over, but it's just like, come on, give me some more. But like, so I just named a handful of tag teams. Now, then you have the LWO. You have Pretty Deadly, who just, oh man, you talk about heat seekers. Goodness gracious. And now
they what Hit Row was trying to be, but Pretty Deadly just gets it.
You said they're who?
They're what Hit Row was trying to be, like heat seekers. They were trying to be, hate us, but it's like Pretty Deadly just gets it. Like, see, they come see, like, what are
Pretty
these guys?
Deadly. I'm gonna tell you who Pretty Deadly killed. They killed the Maxim Male Models.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
because they're not the same gimmick, but they fall into the same category. They're like, bro, we're so pretty and violent, and you're gonna hate
NXT us. Were hilarious. Bro, go back and watch that vignettes.
Like I saw them. First of all, I saw the outfits and I was immediately pissed off. They got those Bobby Brown sleeves on. I said, "Come on, man."
The little halter top.
Yeah, bro.
But they dress the same.
Right. With their hair, and I'm like,
back to the tag teams because I want you to keep naming them. You got your guys. You forgot about your guys.
Oh yeah, the OG Good Brothers, the Good Brothers.
The Brawling Brutes,
Anderson Gal, Brawling Brutes. I didn't name like we up to like 8, right?
Exactly.
And your undisputed tag team champions are Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Good guys.
First of all, how long do they keep the belts?
They're gonna hold them joints for a long time. It's because of who they are.
I was just about to say, we can't really take those belts off of them yet, right?
Yes, Taekwondo OC has been on TV. They just beat Hit Row last Friday. Thank you very much. My boy was not happy. I said, yes, my boy's got to win on TV.
time.
Suck it.
That was real early in the show.
Got him. Quick work got him out of there. Job squad. But man, it's they're.
But wait a minute, can we let's talk about that for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Are these long title reigns hurting wrestling?
See, the crazy part is, bro, I was thinking about that and I didn't even want to tap into the conversation. I really didn't, because it's like now it's because now
that's in the conversation. No, but that's in the conversation because we're talking about who they're going to lose to. I really think these long, like when you start establishing and saying, like, I didn't even realize that Wesley was the longest reigning North American champion until they start throwing it in my face. I just thought he was having good matches.
I didn't hear. But let me ask you this: does it make a difference to you because you give up one thing for something else? For example, one thing that I can say these long title reigns have done is they have put the emphasis back on these titles, right?
Yep.
And now holding a championship means something, right? Because with Roman holding the titles, Seth Rollins in the position he's in, it makes those other titles under them that much more important because those are the ones you have to go after.
But nobody's going after him.
But
that's the problem.
See, not yet. But that's why you have guys like Gunther. The longest he's held the Intercontinental Championship completely for a year. But then you have the Money in the Bank, and I'm like, bro, whoever wins this match could go in a number of different directions. You know what I mean?
The women's title is the only one that changed, if you think about it, in the last year.
Yeah, and that's kind of the whole point. It's like, does it hurt the brand, or does it make the championships that much more important?
I think it's hurting. I really think that it's because let's take the United States title. When you took it from Raw to SmackDown, how many people really care about the U.S. title right now? Not because Austin Theory is holding it. But
Well,
think about it.
that's why
Do
people
you
don't
care
care about
about
it. It's because
Gunther or do you care about the Intercontinental
you
title?
care about Gunther.
So, but you get what I'm saying. So if you didn't build him up to the point he's unbeatable. What am I fighting for on Monday Night Raw? I'm not going up to Seth. I'm not going up to Gunther. Am I just supposed to be training somebody to be a wrestler now? I'm supposed to be in.
Somebody's got to catch him slipping. We saw it with the United Kingdom Championship when Walter held it and Illinois Dragunov. When I saw the match, I said, I wasn't familiar with NXT UK. So when he came on that last takeover of what we considered the old black and gold, and I was like, how's he going to sit there and even contend with this dude until the bell rang? And then I was like, holy cow.
You talking about 1 or 2 with Illinois and Walter, 1 or 2? Two. Okay.
And I was just like, how's he going to beat him like that? Like, first of all, when Walter beat Pete Dunne, I was like, first of all, I never thought Pete Dunne was going to lose. He had it for 30 years. But then Walter came and I'm like, who the heck is this big dude? And I was like, oh, that's why. I was like, oh, yeah, he's up next. And then Walter had it forever. And I was like, well, who the heck is going to beat Walter? And then Illinois Dragunov comes up and I was like, and I watched how he beat him. And I was like, okay, that makes so much sense. So it's like, it shows you that even though with the exception of you can't. I was about to say with the exception of Roman, you can't even say that because let's be real, Roman probably should have lasted his last 4 or 5 matches, but he found different ways to win, not because he was beating everybody. Like if you look at all his matches, he was on some Ric Flair stuff. He was supposed to lose last 5 matches he's had. Like just because you're winning doesn't make you untouchable. So I feel the same way with these titles. Like you can have these long title reigns, but it really only takes 3 seconds to end it all. You know what I mean? So it's like, what's the give and take? You make the title seem important, and then you ultimately are the one that becomes important because you're the one that made the title important, right? Think about it. Ricochet has the title, IC champion, right? But when Gunther and his presentation holds it for 365 days, it's like, oh nah, this belt must be for real because now everybody's like, I want to be the one to take him down. You know what I mean?
But go back one step when Ricochet won the United States title. It felt like a big deal. It felt like a moment. Then AJ ripped it from under him. Then it was like, okay, we're gonna have this feud going. And then it was like, never mind. Ricochet goes somewhere else. We're done with you. So I feel like whether he had it for 1 day or 100 days or 1,000 days, what did we do with him in between hand? And it's like the way to keep these titles, like for instance, you're going to get Wesley on every NXT pay-per-view in some title match. But we don't get that with Gunther or Austin Theory. But then we say, oh, Austin Theory is the youngest United States. We throw these stats out. But I don't feel like they have warrant to it because, let's be honest, Seth going to have more title defenses at the rate he's going than Gunther does in a week. At the rate he's going.
I mean, they're different titles, though, right?
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. He's carrying the IC title like it's the UK title. Think about that.
What am I fighting for? Like you said, we take Ciampa back. What are you doing for him? He can't go up to Gunther because people forgot. He took him to the limit. You almost thought he was going to lose the NXT UK title. But it's like, put him with DIY because what else you going to do with him? Oh, never mind, because Kevin Owens and Witchcrawler got the belt. So maybe they'll be looking at the way in backstage promos talking about, are we getting the family back together? It's just like, as good as wrestling is getting, it's like, we got to do something to shake it up.
Well, let me ask you a question. Speaking of shaking it up, you talk about new talent. Does it have to be something familiar with like DIY with Tommaso Ciampa? First of all, Tommaso Ciampa is one of my favorites, but apparently he's a smaller guy. I never saw it because I'm used to seeing him in the ring with guys around his size, but apparently I know he's been hitting the gym, but apparently he's a smaller guy compared to everybody else. And I'm like, well,
he was in a Cruiserweight Classic and he looked like the same size. He was the same size. Think about that.
Yeah, I know he's put on he's put on a significant amount of weight. You know what I mean? And I know he's trying to beef up his look and stuff like that. But I'm just like saying to myself, well, why, who else can he go after? Why does it have to be, DIY? DIY is the most obvious choice. Don't get me wrong. You know what I mean? But it's like, well, what do you do now? Because now you have all these top tier baby faces on Raw. You can do Indus Sheer, you can do DIY, but eventually you're gonna rack up enough wins. You're gonna say, okay, cool, let's go for these titles. And then, okay, so what do you do with? Well, I don't know. I can't keep up with this stuff, man. because I thought about something. I was about to say like, well, how are you gonna have 2 babyface matchups? But you really can't because you got to remember it's always the bottom line of competition, right? the DIY finally faces off with freaking Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. Whoever's beefing with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn could cause them to lose the match. It don't have to
Yep.
be, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Pretty Deadly could interfere because they want their title match.
Pretty Deadly.
Look
did
what
the
they did
same
on
thing to the
SmackDown.
Usos. Exactly. That's exactly what I was
They
thinking
had
about.
everybody yelling at
Like,
each other.
Nobody,
They wanted a title match.
nobody saw them coming, and I was like, "Oh shoot, I forgot that Pretty Deadly is running with Austin Theory right now." You know what I mean? And it's like, and once again, like you said, Brandon, those guys are also chasing after the tag. They were backstage with Adam Pearce, like, "Yo, we want a shot at the title." So,
But the point is, if Austin Theory would have lost
Mhm.
to Jay, then Austin Theory, what does he do? Does he chase it back and get it back from Jay? And does that add value or diminish the United States title? I think it's instantly going to put some eyes on it because it's like, oh, it's further in the bloodline storyline, another wrinkle. But then if he loses it as fast as he wanted, that's another wrinkle that you can have in this story because look at Solo. When he won the North American title, it was like,
He just took it away.
was that just for the picture? Was that
Right.
just for the picture? Come
right,
on now.
but then what do you do with the United States Championship? Because if Jey Uso wins the United States Championship, the title's going to take a back seat. It's going to be about Jey Uso won a singles title, and now you can look at like,
No,
oh,
it's-
shoot. The
I think he
storyline.
loses it as soon as he get it, and that helps. That doesn't lose the prestige of the belt. It helps put eyes on it. Oh shoot! Look what happened. He could be arrogant. He could be, look, I won this title. I did this on my own. Look what happened.
Or you could do exactly what you did last week, where his brother gets involved and does too much and causes him to lose.
And that's how he loses the title back in a rematch.
Another ring.
I thought I was helping. There's another wrinkle.
Listen, if we see this happen on TV, good brothers, we're gonna get some paperwork. We're gonna get a lawyer,
Absolutely.
and we're gonna get some money. It's because we just sat there and we just went through a whole scenario. Thank you, Dennis King, for that question. We encourage you guys all to do that. Like if you have questions for us on the show, we'll do a random Q&A with you. Ask us the question, and we'll put it out there. So thank you, Dennis King, for participating, and everybody
Who
else.
was he
Dylan,
talking about had a
Matthew,
good match
Taekwon.
with Gunther? Who was that he was talking about? Dennis, who was that you was talking about had a good match? He had a good match with Gunther back in the day. I hope he's talking about Ciampa because that match was awesome.
Probably Ciampa.
I hope he was talking about Ciampa.
So, but with that being said, gentlemen, we're on the road to Money in the Bank. We still have a little ways to go, and this pay-per-view or premium live event is still starting to shape up. And I'm definitely expecting this youth movement to continue in with WWE and so much talent. Real quick, is there any other young talent or underutilized stars that you would like to maybe see in NXT? And of course, anytime, you're quite welcome, Dennis. Thank you, brother. Like any other underutilized talent or fresh faces that you want to see kind of get an opportunity in NXT or just get a kind of a push as we kind of go into this space. Of course, he says Tommaso Ciampa. Me too. I love Tommaso Ciampa. But what do you guys think? Anybody else you want to see kind of get a push or, kind of get another opportunity with NXT and trying to help them down there?
I think Hit Row need to go back to NXT.
Yeah, I think so too. I think they definitely, once again, to help kind of boost their kind of that tag division. Yeah, no doubt.
And
So
establish them what they are. Are they heels? Are they faces? Are they
I think they're here right now.
version of their claim? Because
It was
what
supposed to
they
be
doing on
healed.
social media is perfect. Like the thing on social media was perfect, but then it didn't. When they got the
Didn't
TV,
translate.
you got beat by the OG, the OC. It was like, well, that was pointless.
Real
Still call.
question. The real question is: Do you unify the tag titles?
They did already.
No.
Like,
No,
They keep
the
saying-
men's.
yeah, they
NXT? They did it already.
no. I'm sorry. No, they did not. They did not. I think
They're
I,
saying-
I think there's more men's tag teams in NXT than there are women's tag teams, which is, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I think that's probably the biggest thing, though. But I think they got to keep. It's too many men's tag teams down there.
Which
Women's
I do-
tags.
Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
I was about to say I think the women's tag team is the one that's kind of scarce. You know what I mean? I don't think they want to just keep throwing, women in tandems just for the sake of, oh well, we're running out of tag teams. They're still building a division, but they want legitimate tag teams, right? But what were you saying?
I was going to ask new tag titles then, because it has to come if they still have the SmackDown and Raw titles. I mean, I know they're supposedly unified or whatnot, but
No, I think we do get new tag titles. That's something else for Brother Brandon to have a conversation about. It's because at one point they were saying the Raw and SmackDown champions, and then after a while, like I don't know if it was I don't know if I just missed it or I just picked up on it late. they called them the undisputed tag team champions. I'm like, oh, okay, that must mean it's them merging the titles then. So they'll probably get fresh titles, but under what circumstance do they get fresh titles? You know what I mean? Like, for instance, Brandon said something about why didn't they give Roman his title fresh off the win? And he was like, they waited till it's 1,000-day reign to give it to him. And then same thing with the women. They didn't give them those new titles fresh out of WrestleMania. Yeah, that could have been a part of that Monday surprise, but they purposely waited, until after the World Heavyweight Championship tournament was completely over with, and then they did all the reveals and so on and so forth. So it's a tough call. I think we do get new tag team titles soon. What real quick, what you guys, now we talked about designs and new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys want to see a new design for the undisputed tag team championships, or do you guys, how would you feel if they just did the same thing with everything else? They're gonna give you a black strap, make it gold, and slap a big W in the front of it, and say these are the new undisputed tag team championship belts. Me, I'm gonna say this: I love tag team championships. I think they need to refresh, a new look, but I wouldn't be surprised if they don't just take the original concept, a slightly newer concept, make it gold, and slap a W in the front. What do you guys think?
I think that's probably what you're gonna get, but just another cookie cutter title. But I would definitely like to see something. Kind of like back in the day when the invasion era, where they had Undertaker and Kane. Mm-hmm. Those titles right there, those tag titles. Yes, that's what I want right there. I want those. I want those back, or something similar to it. I love those titles.
What are you talking about, the WCW ones?
The WCW ones, man. The WCW, and then they came back and they went out the other ones too, but they became the undisputed. But hey, I love those WCW titles, bro.
What do you? Really?
Yeah, that's Virgin too. I always liked their tag titles too, though. That was Virgin too. Do you remember how they got those titles, Brother Hugh? The Outsiders, how they introduced those titles?
I do not right offhand. I'll have to go back and watch.
They stole the belts from the Steiners, and then they gave them brand new titles. So they took they beat them for the new ones, and they took the old ones at the same time. They were wearing both of them at the same. I was like, the shenanigans.
See, I went down with that shenanigans.
Yep, especially with Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. I was like, what the heck? But that was around the time where Scott Steiner turned on Rick Steiner, joined the NWO.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, broke out as the soul.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah. What about you, brother?
He was doing his match.
Yeah,
I want to see. The only reason I want to see a different variation because when the last time we were in this situation, we had WWE Tag Team Champions and then World Tag Team Champions. We already did that with the women. So now are we going to do just Tag Team Champions?
Because remember those unified pennies behind you was the unified title that they came up with.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Because remember we had the WWE Tag Team Champions and we had the World Tag Team Champions.
Didn't like neither one of those
Raw,
belts.
one for SmackDown.
Didn't like.
I love both of them. I love
both
of them. I loved them both because they were distinct for one with Raw and one with SmackDown. Then we gave us the pennies, and then we said, "Oh, by the way, here's a new belt because you're on Raw." Oh, never mind. We're gonna have a tournament for the SmackDown ones. So I think if we don't separate them, give us one unified. But if we're gonna separate them, give them different names because this Raw and SmackDown issue that we don't have to have the tag teams backstage that I'm the SmackDown tag champs and I'm on Raw. Well, I'm the Raw tag team champs. I'm on SmackDown. Or worse, both sets of tag teams are on SmackDown and nobody's on Raw. I think we have too many tag teams not to have two separate ones. But if we go back to the scenario, I think we got too many because how do you have contenders and keep them fresh when if they gotta wait for their title match or the brand split's not going to really be in existence because if Brandon and Hugh are the tag team champions on Raw, now Brian and Dwayne gotta wait until we finish this program on Raw before we move over to SmackDown. Or guess what? You got to come to Raw to get an out face to just throw the storyline. So now we didn't threw the brand split out the window.
Man, that's tough. Man.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's too many to not have it.
Let me play devil's advocate. Even though I'll never be an advocate of the devil. I look at it like this. What if they're doing it to say, let's make tag teams be tag teams again? Like the emphasis goes on you because of who you are as a tag team, not because you're important because you won the championship. You know what I mean? Like, look at Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are a tag team right now, but who they are is carrying the tag team championships. The Usos.
Yeah.
The Usos were not important because they were the tag team champions. The Usos were important, and they were even that much more important because they were the tag team champions. You know what I mean? My favorite tag team of all time is the New Age Outlaws, and it's like they had separate. They weren't just like, oh, we're the New Age Outlaws. That's our personality. We're outlaws. Like, no, they were. One was Road Dogg, one was Billy Gunn, and they were the tag team champions. And when they weren't tag team champions, they were still like, I'm paying to see the New Age Outlaws. I'm not saying, oh, well, I'm seeing them on my TV because they're the champions right now. You know what I mean? And maybe it's an emphasis on say, let's try to get these guys some personalities and figure out how do we learn to get tag teams over without having to be the tag team champions? You know what I mean?
Right.
And see, and that's what I don't want to say. That's what it gets, because what does, and I'm just using for example because I already said they need to go back there and see Hit Row. What are they doing on SmackDown outside of the tag team championship match, or how do we keep them relevant? Because the tag team champions and their contenders are going to be that story right now. Kind of like with the women division, how we used to just only have, if you wasn't contending for the women's belt, you weren't doing anything. Now we have other storylines going where you care about those other wrestlers, and it doesn't matter if she's fighting for the women's title. They all go for Money in the Bank. They didn't have to go for a tag team. They have other feuds. I think with so many tag teams right now, it would benefit from separate brands with them. Now, if it was a thing where we just had one across 3 brands, kind of like with the women, because it's a smaller amount of them, all right, cool. But you got enough tag teams that you can have 3 sets of belts.
Yeah, but
different shows.
Do you have enough space for tag teams on your TV show?
Yes, because you still want to showcase them with or without the belts. But with the belts, it just feels like it's another. Because say, for instance, all right, Austin Theory opens the show. Roman's not there. The tag teams can close. Kind of like what I was saying. It always should open with one of your world champions and end with them. But if they're not there,
I mean, we saw
the secondary.
We saw that with the Usos.
Uso, I'm about to say, yeah, that's exactly what we saw.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So that's
because I feel like that's how you keep it. Because think about how many times do we see Becky Lynch close Monday Night Raw when she was the women's champion?
Right.
How many times do we see her open it? You know, and then go back to the whole thing with the Miz with the white strap. He carried Raw when he had the white strap. But that's because we were in that position. And who could say we couldn't have a main event for these 2 tag teams and just Pretty Deadly going up against the Brawling Brutes, and that's the main event. It's a lot to think about.
It is, man. And
Triple H is going to throw us for a loop. He's probably going to give us a black and gold title for 1 black strap and 1 white strap and say, here's our tag team belt. So I don't know. I'm not going to try to figure out his brain anymore.
I was about to say, I was about to ask you, are you guys embarrassed by this, by the fact that he's got us grown men trying to figure this out? Because we used to be really good at this stuff. We used to be able to map it out, and you know, the only thing we would text each other after, maybe a week after we had a discussion about it. Yep, told you so. There it is. Called it. You called it. Nowadays, we're sitting there like the same way we were with trying to figure out Bray Wyatt coming back. You know what I mean?
That was the worst.
That was crazy.
I wasn't even watching wrestling. I was looking at the background. I'm looking at crowd signs. I didn't know I missed the whole interviews because I'm like, what's in the back? I saw a blue light flicker.
Right.
Bro, that's
exactly a fingernail in the corner on the floor. Did anybody zoom in on that fingernail? I know somebody seen it. They just had a whole car on fire in the background.
We did a whole investigation on it.
We never figured out what happened with those accidents. Remember, we was watching those accidents backstage. We got no explanation for that. Remember, the kept it was an accident and people running out there and there was cars smoking in a parking lot. Right. I'm like, bro, who keeps getting the car accidents?
Yeah, that's right.
And we were just like, yep.
And then we like, wait a minute, is that we were trying to figure out if it was 1 week? You couldn't figure out if it was Dexter Lumis doing something or if it was Bray Wyatt. God dang it, Triple H. We've been a fan of yours for a long time, and now you're trying to keep us as fans, but I can appreciate that. But
man, all you need to do is just contact this guy that we call the guy. The guy actually. And get him to design the belts for you. Throw him a little change. There it is.
you see how you try to casually just like, it's like so humble.
Hey, and you were talking. So with the tag, do you think we get new tags? Mr. Allen?
Yeah, but the thing is, how new? You know what I mean? To me, here's what I was thinking. At first, I was like, "Well, yeah, it's obvious," because now they're calling them, they're blatantly calling them the undisputed. But then I'm like, well, they might swerve us, man, because you kind of made a point. There is a lot of tag teams right now, but I don't know. It looks to me as if tag teams are doing double and triple duty. So, like for instance, Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey. I didn't see that coming. Like, oh shoot, they're like, we're gonna have a. They're like, nah, we want those. Shayna Baszler said, no, those titles belong to me anyway. And I was like, man, first of all, I love them as a tag team. They're like bullies. They're my favorite women's tag team. And I'm just like, they're doing a unification match. It's no way in the world these little witches is going to win. I'm not calling them like witches. They're legit
The
witches.
dragon and the witch.
Like I don't like the devil gimmicks, but they're clearly. I was like, oh yeah, they're the witchcraft girls. But I was like, they're bold enough to say we're going to have a unification. I was like, oh, you guys don't stand a chance. That match is going to be 5.5 minutes. They're going to be done. But
Ronda gonna armbar somebody.
oh
She gotta
man,
pull her shorts down first and
Shayna's
armbar.
going to catch somebody.
Right.
Yeah, her bikers. She got to pull her bikers down. But I also hope that they're also going to be, by them unifying the NXT championship, that means they're going to be also traveling as well. Where it's like, just because you have 3 or 4 women's tag teams in NXT doesn't mean somebody needs to be the champion. Sometimes those 3 tag teams need to duke it out until they're good enough to say, okay, now we're good enough to challenge Shayna. We're good enough to challenge Ronda for the women's tag team titles. And like I said, it doesn't, I don't want to say discriminates, but it doesn't keep them mentally in developmental. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, oh no, we may be NXT, but it's like, if it like this is I swear to God, man, like this show was supposed to end like an hour ago.
It was.
Think about it. They're blurring the lines again between developmental and the talent. Like they're trying to get us not to associate talent with, oh, that's developmental. Because like for instance, if Braun Breaker is in NXT and he decided to challenge Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship, if he puts up a good fight, who's to say he's developmental?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like who's to say like, oh shoot, he almost beat him? Like maybe bro isn't developmental. Maybe we don't look at it that way. You know, same thing with Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey. If those witch girls put up a fight, it's like, well, shoot, you're not gonna look at them as developmental talent. You're gonna say, yo, they almost beat Shayna Baszler and freaking Ronda Rousey, and that ain't no small feat. So it's like, man, I think I'm noticing that these lines are starting to be blurred a little bit more. You know, you look at that superstar saying, no, I want to come here. You know what I mean? Seth Rollins goes, no, I want to come home. This is where I'm from. This is what I did. This is where I got my start. He's not looking at it like it's inferior.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, goddamn Triple H, man. With the dust.
Messing you up.
With the dust, man. But excellent conversation, man. This is I don't know how people are going to respond to this one, but this is a much needed conversation that we needed to have. And I definitely want to appreciate everybody for joining us in the chat. Everybody that participated.
Who's still there? Anybody still there?
We got Kofi, we got Taekwon, and the casual wrestler still hanging in, and
we got our regular heavy hitters. They still around.
Yeah, man, we still got a good amount of people in here, man. So we definitely appreciate this guy.
Yeah,
he has that thing on black. What? Time out, bro. Dylan Matthews, appreciate you, brothers. There.
Come on,
hold on.
That's not fair, bro.
So first of all, this is how we ended the show. Same way we started the show. So, ladies and gentlemen, I had Brandon's title because he has mine. You know, he let me hold it because mine was jacked up at the time, and I wasn't giving his title back because he freaking hijacked my tag title. He goes and orders himself the same belt with a black strap, and I'm like, dude, who does a random belt reveal with all these people still in the chat? But like, Brandon, what you got going on, brother? You just wasn't gonna say anything, huh? Did it just come in the mail?
Yeah.
See, now I feel like I want to design my own. You all think I should design my own wrestling room belt? Because he's just designing belts. He's making it look fun. I'm like, now I want to design one.
I think it's time for you to jump in there, man.
You think so?
Yeah, absolutely.
Brandon, what do you think? Give me the number to your belt guy.
After we get Championship Cultures logos, I got you.
Ooh.
Okay, that's okay. So he said,
I took a page from Hugh.
Ooh.
I took a page from Hugh. You see what I did there?
Good job there, buddy.
You see what I did there, Hugh?
Yes, sir.
Last time I asked Brandon about Championship Culture logo, he told me 8 different things. And I said, all right, now get back to me when you got it figured out. I never heard from him ever again.
I said this. I sent you a picture. I said like this in red.
Bro, I swear to goodness, I never got the picture. Send it to me again.
Oh, I will.
I know how it is dealing with Brandon. That's probably how it went down.
Bro, he gave me like 8 different ideas, and I said, all right,
Yeah.
let me, like, when to let that.
Because you
All right, I
said,
got
give
you.
me an idea. And then I said like this. And
Bro, he gave me
I don't know
8
if you
of
can
them.
see.
He gave me 8 ideas.
Hey,
Did he draw?
hey,
First
boy,
of all, it looks. I don't know why it pops more on with the black, like the details of the
does.
title.
Yeah. That does
No,
look
let
clean.
me. That's a brand new title. That's not the same title.
it is.
No, it's not.
That's the same one, bro.
That's the same one.
You
Is
just-
that the angel
It's-
wings with the sword?
Yeah. Look, see?
Yes, sir.
Yo, it looks like the undisputed championship. I see all the detail
That
on the black
looks
strap.
clean compared
Wow.
to the red. I hate you, Brandon.
Yep, that's my sentiments too. Sorry, we're supposed to close the show out, but there it is. Look, Benjamin Walker. Thank you, Brett. Let's put this up before we get out of here. Look at this, Benjamin Walker. Thank you, sir. Brandon being bad news, Brandon. Yes, he is. Benjamin, I know it's late, man. We appreciate you joining us, man. And look,
Let
the
me
casual
fold it like
wrestler.
Dwayne likes to fold.
Look at that. The casual wrestler said he's waiting on his CM Punk rendition. What's that mean? What does that mean,
For
casual?
you to
No,
sing.
he
Look
asked
in
you
my
earlier.
eyes.
He asked you earlier.
For cult of personality. He definitely asked you.
He did.
I want to see Brandon like design like a spinner version of the wrestler. I don't think he has that in his bag. I'm just gonna keep throwing out challenges, and I want you to spend all your money on belts. Why are people still coming to this chat, ladies and gentlemen? We're trying to wrap this up. We're trying to go home. Brandon's he got the belt tip on the thing with the Maryland flag.
The big belt too.
Did you put the belt tip on the other one?
Yes, look at it. You have it. Look next to you. Where is
you
it?
got dang right. As long as you know.
Where is it? Where is it?
As long as you know.
You
Don't
probably
you
put
worry
it up,
about that.
didn't you?
I don't you
okay.
worry about where it's at.
Hugh, does it look good on my shoulder like the red one?
Yeah, it does. It does. It does.
Okay, good.
That joint is
Mhm.
clean. So I hijacked his belt and said, I'm not giving this one back to you. And then he just goes and gets another one. I'm losing this battle. I feel like WCW in 1998. I'm not
Oh
winning
man,
right
Hugh, we
now.
gotta do another photo shoot now.
Hey, I'm with it.
I'm not winning right now. Ladies and gentlemen, the Belt King is doing Belt King things. He's showing off. He's got new. First of all, he does a random belt reveal at the end of the show. For those who are listening,
Said I'm doing Belt King things. I didn't know there was a thing, but thank you.
But make
Yeah,
sure you
man,
check him out on Championship Culture every Tuesday.
Championship Culture every Tuesday.
What we got for him next week, Brandon?
Brand, do you want to since you don't reveals? Are we just gonna? Are we gonna do this? Are we going to look at the casual? This is what I said, brother Brandon. Look at that. Gotta love big belts. That's what I said. I get it, but it doesn't. First of all, the picture doesn't do any justice. That thing is massive and it's heavy as heck.
Yep.
But are we going to go ahead and reveal next week's Championship Culture show? We're going to put it up here now.
Oh, absolutely. Let's talk about next week's show because I've been dropping some nuggets every once in a while about it. But next week's episode of Championship Culture will ask that question about that one belt, and I just want to know who wore it better.
Can I show the thumbnail or is it not? Can I see it? Okay. I didn't know. There it is right there. Look at that.
We want to know who wore it better.
You already know who wore it better because you said you already called it he called it the Miz title, the Miz strap. You already called it, the one, the Miz strap, the white one.
Yeah, so that's the next episode of Championship Culture. We want to know who wore it better because that belt happened, and then Shinsuke was the last holder of that belt. But it was a lot of history between when Cody debuted it down to when Shinsuke retired that design. But I'm just going with that point of history, not Shawn Michaels holding it.
I have to get that title too. I have to get
right.
I'm debating on which one I should get. Should I get Scratch logo on the white strap? That thing, that's a nice title. I'm sorry. I'm trying to focus. That's a nice belt. I'm looking at it.
It is. You see how the light hit that bad boy?
It does though. Is it me? Is it? I thought I was tripping.
That's different, man. That's different.
Man. Well, congratulations to brother Brandon, guys, as he's showing off his new undisputed Wrestling Realm Championship.
Wait till Brian sees this.
Yeah, that's crazy. That thing is clean as crap. Okay, that's cool. Don't worry about it because I'm gonna get my belt back and I'm taking pictures of all your belts and I'm gonna pretend like they're mine. So who gives a goddamn? That's what I'm gonna do.
It makes you wonder what's next.
Man, I'm curious. I want to know who his belt guy is so I can make my own. Like, yeah, I can do the same thing you do, buddy. I'm just gonna keep ordering belts.
Right.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to this one, man. Look at this. this who wore it better?
Who wore it better?
White Strap
That
Intercontinental Championship.
Yep. So join in for the shenanigans on Tuesday at Championship Culture, 8 p.m. I'm going to tell about who wore it better.
Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you joining us. Thank you again to everybody. Man, you guys have been really, really great tonight, man. Dylan Matthews has said he can't wait for his World Heavyweight Championship to arrive. He's ordered it already. Brother Raj, look, Uncle Raj, he geeking, ain't he? I'm not repeating it, but if you can read it, you can read it. Look, check him out.
Come on, bro. Uncle Raj.
Oh, it's Uncle Raj for you. But thank you.
Oh, Hugh, your belt is a little dusty. Oh,
See,
man.
So now he's
guy.
going to be a
that's cool.
ASS.
That's cool.
Okay.
That's that. He's being a butt. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to go. We appreciate you all joining us. Thank you for everybody hung out with us. Oh man, this guy. Thank you for everybody who's joined us. Join us next week and follow us on all social media platforms at The Wrestling Realm. Subscribe to our Patreon, of course, Twitch and YouTube at The Wrestling Realm as we head out. And as Brother Brad just keeps shining up belts, it's hijacked my title in the background. But don't worry, I plan on getting it back, and I plan on getting it back very soon. So, ladies and gentlemen,
real quick, shout out to my Nighthawks. We back in the playoffs, baby.
Back in the playoffs,
back in the playoffs.
Congratulations. Yeah. Hold on, man. Hold on, baby. Time out. We got to give him a round of applause, man.
There it is. There it is.
Yes, sir.
I think we bring the title home this year.
Really?
Yeah.
Who did the Nighthawks play next? Or do you
play Columbus Chaos? We played them over in Ohio on the 24th.
Are we designing a world championship? Is that what I heard? Are we designing a title?
You hear him?
Hey,
you hear him?
Are we Nighthawk?
Hey.
I heard purple and black.
That's
purple
what I heard.
Be kind of funky.
I heard something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
You know how popular brother he would be if he comes in there with a Nighthawks championship belt after they win a championship.
Right.
That'd be amazing.
You want to give it to him
because look, this guy,
they will want to keep
the
it.
word I used was
right.
You know, I got some ideas now.
You know
we
what?
need to talk.
Guess what? You
Thanks
got
everybody in the chat.
You want to turn it towards the tilt it a little bit because it got a little glare right there.
You know what? Glare this, everybody. I'm out of here.
Water.